Let me ask you something. What would your life look like if nothing could shake you? What if the opinions, the failures, the rejections all bounced off like rain on a rooftop? Wouldn't you walk taller? Wouldn't you act bolder? Well, that's not just a dream. That can be your reality. Because today, I want to challenge you to learn to act as if nothing affects you. Now, I'm not saying you turn into a robot. I'm not saying you don't feel. What I'm saying is, you become bigger than the things that try to control you. Life has a way of testing you when you least expect it. One moment, everything seems fine, and the next, you're hit with delays, setbacks, or people who try to bring you down. But if you want to learn how to act as if nothing affects you, the first and most important step is to understand this. The real battle is never outside you. It's inside. It's not the chaos around you. It's the chaos asterisk within you asterisk that causes the most damage. If you can learn to control your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, and mindset, then the outer world will lose its power to control you. You can't always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your state. Most people live on autopilot, reacting emotionally to everything that happens. Someone cuts them off in traffic, they explode. Someone disagrees with them, they take it personally. A plan doesn't go the way they hope. They give up. That's not strength, that's surrendering to the world. That's allowing external events to dictate internal peace. And you don't want to live like that. Not if you want to be strong, not if you want to grow, not if you want to lead. What separates those who rise in life from those who constantly struggle is this simple principle. Winners master themselves before trying to master the world. If you don't, you'll find yourself controlled by every minor inconvenience, every rude comment, every wave of doubt that shows up in your mind. But when you work on building inner strength through discipline, clarity, and self-awareness, then you become untouchable. You stop chasing peace from other people and start creating it from within. You stop looking for motivation from the outside and start living from a deep sense of purpose. Jim Rohn used to say, "The same wind blows on us all. The difference is how you set your sail." That means problems will come. Distractions will come. Criticism, loss, change, it all comes to everyone. But the people who win in life are the ones who have prepared their mindset in advance. They've made a decision. I won't be moved. I won't be shaken. I will not give my power away to things I cannot control. So if you truly want to act as if nothing affects you, don't try to manipulate the world. Instead, master yourself. Develop a mind that stays calm when provoked. Build a heart that remains kind even when disappointed. Train your habits to be steady even when emotions are strong. When you do that, the world around you will begin to respond differently. You won't need to force anything. You'll walk with quiet strength, and that's what real power looks like when everything around you can be falling apart, but inside, you're still standing tall. That's when you've won the real battle. In life, there will always be moments that provoke you, times when people say things that sting, when situations don't go your way, when pressure builds and emotions rise. The natural impulse is to react instantly, to let frustration take over, to respond with anger, fear, or resentment. But those who want to live with power and clarity must learn to break that pattern. Because reacting is easy, it's automatic. Responding, on the other hand, is intentional. And there is a world of difference between the two. A reaction is emotion-driven. It comes from habit, from ego, from a lack of control. When someone criticizes you, the reaction is to snap back, to defend, to attack. When something fails, the reaction is to complain, to blame, to shrink. But none of these reactions serve your growth. They don't fix the problem. In fact, they often make it worse. They pull you away from who you truly want to become. Acting as if nothing affects you is not about pretending you're unbothered. It's about consciously choosing how you respond, regardless of what's happening around you. The person who responds instead of reacts is operating from strength, not weakness. It means pausing before you speak, breathing before you decide, thinking before you act. That pause is powerful. In that space between stimulus and response lies your freedom. It's where you regain control. Where you remind yourself that you are in charge of your mind, not the other way around. And in that space, you choose dignity over drama, purpose over pettiness, wisdom over impulse. Letting your emotions run your life is like handing over the steering wheel to a storm. You might move fast, but you'll crash. Learning to respond instead of react means you take the wheel back. You decide how to show up, how to carry yourself, how to handle pressure. This doesn't mean you won't feel anger or fear or sadness. It just means you've trained yourself not to be ruled by them. There's a reason leaders remain calm in chaos, and top performers stay focused under pressure. It's because they've mastered the art of emotional discipline. They don't flinch at small problems, they don't crumble at setbacks, and they certainly don't let every little annoyance steal their energy. They've developed the muscle of stillness, a strong, steady presence that doesn't get thrown around by external noise. And that is what allows them to rise above the rest. The world will always give you a reason to react, but you don't have to take the bait. You can pause, you can assess, you can respond in a way that aligns with your values and your goals. That kind of self-control builds a powerful reputation. It builds trust. It builds self-respect. And over time, it creates a life that's not only more peaceful, but more purposeful. When you live like that, when you act with intention, not emotion, you stop being controlled by life and start leading it. There is something profoundly powerful about a person who remains calm under pressure. In a world full of noise, chaos, and emotional outbursts, calmness is not just rare, it's magnetic. It draws people in, builds trust, and commands respect. When you learn to act as if nothing affects you, calmness becomes your secret weapon. It's not about pretending that you don't care. It's about developing such inner stability that the outside world loses its power to disturb your peace. Calmness is strength under control. It shows that you're not being pushed around by emotions, by opinions, or by circumstances. In every room, every crisis, and every challenge, the calm person is the one people look to. Not the loudest, not the most reactive, but the one who keeps their head when everyone else is losing theirs. That's the person who gets remembered, who gets followed, who gets chosen to lead. Why? Because calmness signals confidence. It tells the world, I'm not afraid, I'm prepared. I don't need to shout to prove I'm right. I don't need to panic because I know how to navigate storms. Calmness gives you clarity. When your emotions are in check, your decisions improve. You stop acting from fear or pride or insecurity. You act from wisdom, from strategy, from purpose. And in that state, you gain the upper hand, not over others, but over yourself. Because at the end of the day, the person who controls their mind controls their life. Most people waste their energy on things that don't matter. They react to every comment, every insult, every inconvenience. They stay in a constant state of tension, always bracing for the next problem. But when you stay calm, you conserve energy. You focus on solutions instead of problems. You choose peace over drama. And that makes you incredibly powerful in a world that thrives on distraction and emotional chaos. Calmness also gives you presence. When you walk into a room calm and composed, people feel it. You don't need to announce your value. It's felt. It's in your posture, your voice, your timing. Calmness slows you down in a good way. It allows you to observe more, to say less, and to act with more precision. You become the person who speaks last but says the most, who waits before moving but moves with purpose. That is real strength. This level of calmness doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. You train it like a muscle. You build it every time you breathe instead of explode. Every time you listen instead of argue. Every time you let go instead of holding on to things that don't matter. And the more you do it, the stronger it gets. Eventually, it becomes who you are. So when life gets loud, stay quiet inside. When people test your patience, let it be a moment to grow. When things fall apart, let your calmness hold it together. Because the calmest person in the room is often the most powerful. Not because they control everything, but because they don't need to. Many people live their entire lives chained to the opinions of others. They shape their behavior based on who's watching, adjust their dreams based on what others say is possible, and shrink themselves to fit into places where they don't belong. But when you decide to act as if nothing affects you, you begin to break those chains. You no longer live for validation or applause. You start walking with a confidence that comes from within, not from external approval. That kind of confidence doesn't scream. It doesn't need to. It simply walks into the room with quiet certainty and lets presence do the talking. When your sense of worth is tied to how people treat you, your emotions become unstable. If they praise you, you're happy. If they ignore you, you question your value. That's a fragile life. It puts your self-esteem in someone else's hands. But real strength begins when you stop needing everyone to understand you, like you, or agree with you. Because approval is fleeting. One moment it's there, the next it's gone. If you base your identity on it, you'll constantly be chasing something you can't control. Learning to act unaffected means walking forward even when no one's clapping. It means speaking the truth even when it's unpopular. It means showing up with consistency even when no one's watching. That's how you build character. That's how you build trust in yourself. Because when you stop performing for others, you start performing for your purpose. You don't need to be loud about it. You just need to be steady, reliable, grounded. Confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to compete. It just exists, rooted in self-awareness, strengthened by experience, and powered by discipline. When you walk into a room and you're not looking around for approval, you instantly stand out. People sense that you're comfortable in your skin. You're not trying to be impressive. You're simply being real, and that authenticity is magnetic. The truth is, not everyone will like you. Not everyone will support you. And that's okay. Your mission in life is not to be liked by everyone. It's to become the best version of yourself, regardless of who claps for you. When you start walking with that kind of conviction, things shift. You stop asking for permission to be great. You stop doubting your place in the room. You start moving like someone who belongs, because you do. The strongest people don't rely on outside voices to tell them who they are. They already know. They've done the work, faced the fire, and come out on the other side with clarity. So they walk differently. They speak differently. They carry themselves with quiet dignity. And in a world obsessed with appearances and noise, that kind of quiet confidence makes the loudest impact. So walk in your truth, speak from your heart, and never let someone else's opinion become your identity. The day you stop chasing approval is the day you truly begin to rise. Everyone experiences pain. It's one of the few guarantees in life. Whether it's failure, heartbreak, betrayal, loss, or disappointment, no one escapes it. But while pain is universal, how we carry it is what defines us. Some let it break them. Others use it to build themselves. The truth is, pain doesn't destroy people. Their response to pain does. The strongest individuals are not the ones who have had an easy path. They're the ones who have learned to walk forward through the fire without letting it turn their heart cold or their mind bitter. You don't need to wear your pain like a badge. You don't need to explain it to everyone. What you need is to rise through it, to carry it with grace, and to not let it become your identity. The danger is when we hold on too tightly to our wounds and allow them to dictate how we see the world. That leads to fear, mistrust, and a small, guarded life. But those who learn to act as if nothing affects them are not denying the pain. They're deciding not to give it more power than it deserves. They feel it, learn from it, and then choose to grow beyond it. Strength is not the absence of pain. It's the ability to keep moving while it's still there. You show up even when it hurts. You smile even when your heart is heavy. You speak with purpose even when your voice shakes. Not because you're faking it, but because you're choosing not to let pain paralyze you. Every step you take while wounded is a declaration that you are more than what tried to break you. And with every step, that pain begins to lose its grip. There's something noble about carrying your pain quietly, about choosing dignity over drama. It doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. It means you've chosen not to let your feelings dictate your actions. Pain can teach, it can shape, but it should never lead. When it leads, it creates a path of reaction, bitterness, and self-pity. But when you lead through it, you create a path of healing, strength, and deep wisdom. The most powerful people often have the deepest scars, but they've learned how to wear them as armor, not chains. They don't talk about their struggles to gain sympathy. They use their experience to gain perspective. They've walked through darkness, and now they bring light wherever they go. Not because they've forgotten the pain, but because they've grown past it. So when life hurts, and it will, don't let that hurt become who you are. Feel it, face it, and then walk anyway. Each time you do, you build a strength that can't be shaken. You become someone others look up to, someone who doesn't just survive, but rises, and that's what sets you apart. Not that you avoided pain, but that you didn't let it stop you from becoming who you were meant to be. Becoming the person you truly respect starts with making intentional choices about how you think, speak, and behave every single day. When you decide to act as if nothing affects you, you're not pretending. You're building something real. You're shaping the kind of character you want to carry for the rest of your life. You're creating a mindset that doesn't waver with every emotion or crumble under every challenge. You're not just surviving circumstances, you're rising above them. And in that process, you become someone you admire, someone others trust, and someone life begins to respond to in a very different way. It's easy to admire strong, disciplined, focused people from a distance. We see their calm, their consistency, their confidence, and we're inspired. But the truth is, they didn't wake up that way. They trained for it. They built it day by day through small decisions and disciplined actions. They chose to respond instead of react. They chose to stay composed when chaos surrounded them. They chose silence over drama, direction over distraction, and purpose over comfort. That's how character is formed, not through what you want to become, but through what you do daily when no one is watching. When you act unaffected by external noise, you're building self-respect. You're telling yourself, I am in charge of my life. I don't hand my power to circumstances or people. That kind of control over yourself is one of the highest forms of freedom, and the more you practice it, the more it becomes who you are. You won't have to fake confidence. It will come naturally. You won't have to pretend to be grounded. You will be. You won't need to act strong. You'll become strong. It's not about being emotionless or robotic. It's about being intentional. You still feel everything, but you don't let everything shake you. You start acting like the person you'd follow. The kind of person who keeps their word, manages their time, respects others, and stays focused no matter what. That's real leadership, that's influence, and that begins with learning to lead yourself. The more you walk in this mindset, the more aligned your actions and values become. You stop needing motivation because you've built habits. You stop needing approval because you've built confidence. You stop being reactive because you've built discipline. And little by little, you evolve into someone who can handle pressure, carry responsibility, and stay focused on the big picture, no matter how loud the noise around you gets. In time, people will notice, not because you told them who you are, but because you showed them through your consistency, through your calm under fire, through your silence when tempted to argue, through your steady hand when others panic. You become someone worth following, not because you try to impress, but because you've done the work. And that's what acting as if nothing affects you really leads to: not fake strength, but earned power. Not performance, but identity. You don't just act like your future self, you become it.